Whilst we continue to wait in agonizing pain for the Shyvana and potential Jarvan VGU to finally release, the season of Demacia continues ever onward, with skins that have absolutely nothing to do with Demacia. Instead, this week we're greeted by some old friends, some new friends, and even some bullshit, with Aegis Frame acting as our newest addition to the Iron Firmament universe. The same one housing Steel Valkyries, Steel Legion, Eternum, and Dreadnova, so I guess there are technically finally villains for the mechs to fight this time. It's just, I don't know how fair that matchup's gonna be. Also returning this patch is Battle Academia. Again. Expanding on the rival school setup last year, which you definitely would have even known as a thing because these guys just look so aesthetically different from everything that came before.
They look identical, Robert.
And finally, after a long delay, Viego is our newest gacha garbage. But much like my current life right now, I prefer to get my schoolwork out of the way first. So let's start with Battle Academia Briar. You people called me crazy, said I was exaggerating the whole problem. Well, the feet thing's not really a big deal. You're just imagining how much Riot's emphasizing it. Well, what now, bitch? What do you think now, huh? The unhinged gremlin side of Briar is her most endearing quality to me, so to see besides that whole predicament, Riot is steering her in that direction again, here pitching her as the creepy goth transfer student, and it's a pretty fun way to mix up that old storyline of her being a fish out of water, and as far as visuals go, they went out of the park here. I just wish the pillory was used a bit more creatively, like the last time it was a cool little shark jaw, but here it's supposedly a leftover disciplinary measure from her old school, and also somehow a protractor at the same time.
That doesn't make any sense!
Rose Quartz is the best chroma, 8 out of 10. Battle Professor Samira. The concept I quite like. Samira as a top-level graduate, less concerned with teaching the next generation than more so showing off just how awesome and experienced that she is. It's a perfect match for her show-off daredevil personality, but VFX, why did they do her so dirty again? Why does a champion whose entire core concept is about being as flashy and over the top as possible have particle effects this lacking? A cosmetic feature Riot is known to do in excess, especially because it's often used as a crutch to compensate for a skin's lack of other features. But changing them to green is all that you can do? Is this really the best you could possibly have done for an anime-inspired Samira?
No, right.
Rose Quartz is the best chroma, 3 out of 10. Torbjorn, I mean Aegis Frame Orn.
Sorry!
You cannot present to me a dwarf engineer with a luscious golden beard wearing a big red visor while decorated in bright red prosthetics who specializes in building futuristic machines and tell me not to connect the dots. I guess the visor also has big weird ear-shaped things that make him look like Heimerdinger, so I guess he's trying to be an amalgamation of all the Engies. I do enjoy this one. It's a novel concept to turn the blacksmith into a futuristic engineer, and of course I was obviously gonna love the Triceratops ram.
That's cheating!
I just wish that by now Orn could get something a bit more serious. As much as I love all of the silly skins, Choo Choo Orn, one of my favorites, it's strange how every single post-launch skin he's gotten has been silly, and then he just got another one again. Ruby is the best chroma, 7.5 out of 10. Aegis Frame Galio. You know, it's funny, they're technically making this skin Wild Rift already made a Mecha Galio. While not a legendary skin, it was pretty damn close to the quality of one. So I guess League is trying to make their own entirely separate version from that, being inspired more by Gundam this time than Transformers or Pacific Rim. And it's really well done, inching ever closer to entirely bespoke animations for every movement, making great use of Galio's normally detached wings by having them morph into jet engines, cannons, shields, and blades. And seriously, this crit animation is so badass, it just makes me confused as to why they barely changed his normal autos from the base version. Not as confused as this, though. It's crazy that in normal gameplay you will never even see this is still somehow affected by whichever chroma you choose, and unless I miss something, this isn't mentioned even once in the story or the voice line. So is this skin supposed to be Galio's consciousness placed into a mech body like the bio says, or is Lux the one saying,
Daddy's home!
Ruby is the best chroma, 9.5 out of 10. Revenant Rain Viego.
Let's go gambling!
You know, back in my day, this would have been considered an ultimate skin, except, no, 10 forms, unique voice lines per form, unique VFX, and even animations per form does not compare to 1 form, 7 weapon changes with VFX affecting only half of the abilities, and an ultimate final mode for completing the quest that's just a slight base boost in the stench lines. I will admit it does have that extra spice you've seen in other Exalted skins, even some legendaries, which speaking of, yeah, the whole mechanic of switching weapons, how expensive do you think Battle Queen Katarina would have been if it released today?
$10,000!
The swords, they do look cool though. Having them change depending on what class of champion you kill is novel, at least. But I feel like a broken record. No matter how good it looks in comparison to the other Exalted garbage, no skin will ever be worth $250. 1 out of 10.
You blew it, you jerks!
There's a bright side to it though. At least we got some new Viego voice lines.
Again!
Overall, this patch, what do I call these anymore? It gets a 7 out of 10. Not gonna lie, Galio hard carries it for me, though I've never really been fond of Battle Academia outside of a few exceptions, nor will I ever be a fan of Gacha, especially when it's... I know I'm not an expert on the subject matter, but isn't that just BDSM stuff? As always, though, those are just my silly, stupid opinions. Be sure to let me know about your, hopefully not silly or stupid opinions. Let me know them down in the comments below if you actually like the stuff that I didn't or agree with what I have to say here today. And as always, then I hope you take care, have a swell rest of your day, and that I hope to see you again in the next video.
Done!